Welcome back to our Land Rover adventure. This is the story of a dream in motion, a journey where an ordinary Defender transforms into the ultimate camper, ready to take us on explorations we've only ever dreamed of. We are Brandon, Chloe and Doug, the team behind X-PLORE. Driven by a love of travel, DIY and a spirit of discovery, we're building a rig that's ready for anything. Our plan: to create a rugged, reliable home on wheels, perfectly tailored for epic off-grid adventures and wild landscapes. The goal: to inspire, to roam freely and to push the limits of exploration. Today, we're bringing you a mini mid-tour check-in of the build so far, a recap of everything we've done and a glimpse of what's still to come. From ripping out the old, fixing and refining every detail, to designing, branding and making major external modifications, we've been pretty busy. And this is just the beginning. Stay with us as we dive into how far our camper build has come, and stick around until the end to see what's coming next. Let's take it back about 5 months ago. We brought our 1998 Land Rover Defender 110 home and kicked off phase 1, the rip out. We started fresh, tearing out everything. We stripped it all the way back to the metal, pulling out the old wiring, the old carpeting, anything that wasn't part of the plan for our build. This step was essential. It wasn't just about clearing the space, it was about getting to the heart of the vehicle. We needed to check every inch, every corner and make sure the foundation was solid enough before we moved forward. It was a lengthy process, but it was absolutely necessary, setting the stage for everything that was to come. The next step was all about the repairs. We made several necessary fixes to the Land Rover, including working on the wiring, the under seat box and the side panel. We also patched up a few holes that needed attention. It was a lot of small work, but it was important to make sure everything was in good shape before we moved forward with the camper build. Moving on to the design. Now, we spent months, and we mean months, thinking through the layout and setup for our Land Rover Defender camper. This wasn't our first camper rodeo. After years of adventures and road trips in our VW T5, we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted, shaped by real experience living and travelling on the road. There were a few key things we knew we needed in this build. The build had to be ready for full-time adventuring, which meant including all the essentials: a sink, a toilet, a full kitchen setup, a comfortable space for working and chilling out indoors, especially during bad weather, and enough power to work remotely. Plus a shower, hot water, water tanks, and all the basics for living off-grid. We also had to keep budgets in mind and plan ahead for the future, like allowing for a pop-top roof installation down the line. Now, we spent months researching, comparing different builds, chatting with suppliers, and eventually we came up with an initial design. It wasn't final, but this design gave us a solid foundation to build from. And naturally, the plan kept evolving as the project moved forward. One of the very first things we did was add some simple branding to our Land Rover and give it a name. These little touches make it feel personal, special, and like the dream is truly coming to life. We added our social media handles so that fellow travellers can find and follow our journey on the road. After some thought, we settled on the name Rango for our Land Rover. Much like a chameleon, this rig is adventurous, capable and effortlessly adaptive to its surroundings. We also dedicated a space on the back door to display stickers from our brand partners and collaborations, as well as those from fellow adventurers and explorers. It's our way of building community, one sticker and one story at a time. Next up were a few key external modifications. We wanted to get all the major drilling and messy bits out of the way before diving into the interior conversion. We installed unwind rails to securely mount our max tracks and jerry cans to, keeping recovery gear and essentials within easy reach. The rear ladder was modified to ensure the number plate remains visible and road legal, and we added grippy tape to the sidebars for safer footing in all conditions. We also fitted a spare wheel carrier to free up space and improve access, essential for remote travel where punctures are always a possibility. To extend our range, we installed a long-range fuel tank, giving us the freedom to venture deeper into the wild without worrying about the next fill-up. The roof rack was also trimmed down so the entire rig could fit inside a shipping container, future-proofing us for overseas travel. And finally, we installed our solar setup early, mounting the panels and running the wiring while everything was still easy to access. It's a big step forward towards self-sufficiency, keeping us powered wherever we roam, from wild mountain camps to quiet coastal laybys. We then replaced the old single glazed windows with proper double glazed camper windows. One of the most satisfying upgrades so far. These new windows open fully, giving us incredible inside-outside views and allowing for proper ventilation and airflow, even when it's raining. It's a small change that makes a big difference to everyday comfort, especially when living off-grid. From there, we moved on to sound deadening and insulation, a big old job, but one we were fully committed to. Land Rovers are notoriously noisy to drive, and we wanted to make ours as comfortable as possible, especially for long journeys and quiet nights parked up in the wild. We took the sound deadening seriously, covering as much surface area as we could to dull the road noise, engine hum and rattles. Once that was in, we followed up with layers of insulation using a mix of materials to help regulate temperature and retain heat on colder nights. To finish it off, we carpeted over key areas, tidying up the look and adding a touch of warmth to the interior. It was the start of the transformation from rugged truck to cozy home on wheels. Next, we tackled the small glass windows at the rear of the Landy. We swapped them out for solid panels, an upgrade that served a couple of important purposes. First, it added a bit more security, which is always welcome when you're living and travelling in your vehicle. Second, it gave us a solid base to mount key components like our external shower and electrical hookup. It was a practical move, but one that helped us take a big step forward to making the rig fully self-sufficient and adventure ready. Now let's talk electrics. We installed a full off-grid electrical setup, powering our adventures with the help from the team at 12 Volt Planet. At the heart of it all is the Fogstar Drift 280 amp hour LiFePro 4 battery, the powerhouse that keeps everything running smoothly. The system charges in multiple ways, through the Victron Orion while the Landy's engine is running, and via a Victron MPPT controller that harnesses solar energy from our 400 watt rooftop solar panels. For our 230 volt needs and shore power, we've installed the Victron MultiPlus inverter charger, giving us all the functionality of a home setup right from the back of our Land Rover. This setup not only lets us charge camera gear and laptops while off-grid, but it also opens the door to electric cooking as a backup option. It's reliable, flexible, and designed to keep us powered no matter where the road or trail takes us. Next, we turned our attention to the front cab. It's where we'd be spending a lot of time, so it needed to be both comfortable and practical. We retrimmed the dash and seats, and even added heated seat elements for the colder days. A mudstuff centre console was installed to house our radio and switches, and we fitted a pair of one-stone armrests to make longer drives more relaxed. We also built a custom cubby box to house our inverter, complete with ventilation and cooling fans, and added extra storage inside. To improve the driving position, we installed our own seat risers. We laid down a diffuser barrier mat to cut down noise and crafted custom door handles for a personal finishing touch. The goal was simple: make the cab feel like ours, functional, comfortable, and ready for adventure. Moving on to the camper build, we started by ply lining the roof and walls. We were planning to add a pop top later down the line, so we went a bit rogue with the roof, got creative with it. We added lighting, built in some bungee storage, and laid out a random playful pattern that makes the space feel unique. The walls got a similar treatment. We lined them with ply, cut out the window shapes, and started shaping the space into something that feels more like home. and it felt great to finally be covering up those bare metal walls. It was the first real step to turning the Landy into a living space. Next, we built out the backdoor kitchen. We love to cook, so having an easy access setup was a must, something that encourages us to cook outdoors, take in the views and enjoy the process. And honestly, we love how it turned out. It's got a drop-down table, a lightweight wipeable splashback, and all the herbs and spices we use most. We've created specific spots for our kitchen gear too, because in a small space, having a set place for everything is an absolute game changer. It keeps things organised and makes cooking on the road simple and enjoyable. This setup lets us switch between our Coleman dual burner stove or our electric hob, depending on the circumstances. We've also made sure to allow for the best of both worlds, so we can cook inside or out depending on the weather. This is just the beginning of our journey building our dream overlanding rig in our Land Rover Defender Rango. We've still got so much more to share and so much more to come. So if you're dreaming of a life on the road, chasing sunsets, building something of your own, or simply love following along on our journey, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like and let us know what you think in the comments. Here's to building boldly, living simply and adventuring always. We'll see you in the next one.